It was a crisp, cold winter day on the island of Sodor. Snow lay thick on the ground. The engines were working extra hard. James was pulling the slow goods train. He had stopped at the signal. Percy pulled up alongside carrying the mail. Said Percy. Then the signal changed to green. Whistled Percy, and he was off in a flash. Grumbled James. Said his driver. Later, when James stopped for water, Thomas was already in front of him. Said Thomas excitedly. Grumbled James. Said Thomas. But James wanted to be an important engine too. Later today, Sir Topham Hatt came to see James. He added. Said James. Sir Topham Hatt left. James was excited. He said happily. Sniffed Gordon. Snorted James. And he wheeshed over to the water tower. But there was a line at the water tank. He steamed impatiently. Said Thomas. James felt too important to wait, so he didn't. James rushed to the coaling station. He met Edward waiting at a junction. Edward was looking bothered. He had too many jobs and he was feeling puffed out. Edward asked, puffed James, and he chuffed grandly away. James arrived at the coaling station. He buffered up to the coal cars and he was on his way. James was looking forward to deliver his coal. He chuffed happily. Then there was trouble. James puffed harder and harder. He went faster and faster, and then he began to feel hotter and hotter. Wailed James, and he had to stop. His driver told him. Just then, Edward pulled up beside James. Pleaded James. Edward puffed sadly. And Edward steamed away. Edward stopped and told the signalman all about James. The signalman called for help, and soon Salty was on his way. He pulled up alongside James. James told him about the line at the water tower. Said Salty. Protested James. Said Salty firmly. And deep down in his boiler, James knew Salty was right. Thanks to Salty, James's water tank was soon filled and he was very well on his way. He knew he had to make up for lost time. Then James saw Diesel up ahead. He had broken down and looked super unhappy. James wanted to tease him, but then he remembered what Salty had said. Pushing Diesel and pulling freight cars was very hard work. At last, James got Diesel to the repair yard, but he still had to deliver his coal. The wind blew, and it was getting colder by the minute. James steamed all over the island delivering coal to the station waiting rooms. Everyone was really pleased to see James. Thanks to him, they were all kept toasty warm. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt came to see him. He knew all about him running out of water and is not helping with Edward's trucks. Said James. Sir Topham Hatt boomed cheerfully. James nearly burst with pride. He said, being really useful was better than feeling important.